guys, welcome to Friday Waffle. This has been recorded on Friday for a change. Yeah, listen, thanks for joining in. I did apologies again about the Friday Waffle live, which didn't happen last week. Like I mentioned, it was a spur of the moment thing. My wife told me that she was going out, and I thought, excellent, I'll do a live Friday Waffle. But then things changed, and she didn't go out, and I wasn't able to do it. And in fairness to her, she did say to me, look, I'll go upstairs, you can still do your live Friday Waffle. But the problem I've got, guys, is if I'm doing a live feed downstairs, it basically means that neither my wife or my daughter can come downstairs. They don't want to be on camera, which I completely understand. So I thought, no, I'm not doing it. I don't mind I don't mind doing live feeds when my daughter's upstairs, because she's quite happy. She's like most teenagers, you know, her bedroom is self-contained, it's got everything she ever needs. But nah, I wasn't going to do that. But we did do the live games thing on Saturday, and it was good fun. I think we did it for about 3 hours. Really good fun. Again, it was a spur of the moment thing. I think I've learned my lesson about, you know, putting out a sort of a heads up too soon about a live feed, because, excuse me, as we all know, we've all got real lives. At least most of us have anyway. Yeah, and things can change. So rather than putting out a live feed, you know, in 2 weeks' time, and then people change their plans, whatever it is, and then I disappoint when I don't come up with the goods, basically, I'll probably, the live feeds will probably be kind of on the spur of the moment, maybe the day before type thing. So yeah, it's going to be, I've not got a great deal to talk about. I must admit, I've started my new, not my new job as such, the company that I work for, the contract that I was working on, the contract is now finished. Not my contract, my personal contract, that actual contract the company was working on, it is now finished, and it's a brand new contract, and it's been taken over with a different company. So I have, as of the 1st of April, two-paid over to this brand new company. So I've been working for them all this week, but because of a lack of having systems in place, I've not done very much. It's been a bit of an odd week, because I've gone from, as far as I'm concerned, having a job where it's just been, there's been too much, it's simply too much for any one person to do, and this week has been really quiet, purely and simply down to the fact that we don't have the IT equipment, we don't have that in place yet. The systems that we're going to be using, we don't know what they are. So it's been a bit of a kind of strange week. All I've actually got at the moment is a phone. That's all I've got, plus my car. I got a nice new car, which is always nice. So gaming wise, I mean, I've managed to, gaming wise, I can't even think of any games I've been playing at all. I don't think I've been playing any video games at all. My sister came up to the house last night, and if you're on my Mainmeister Facebook page, she asked, she can remember a video game from, she reckons, about 1980, 1981, and she was trying to describe it to me, and she said it was like, there was like a bit with like a pool table. It was like looking down on a pool table, you know, with sort of pool balls. But then in the same game, there was a bit where you're kind of like shooting into the centre of this thing, and all she could describe was fried eggs coming towards you. Now, a few people, excuse me, thought it was Gorf. That was my initial reaction, but she said not. She said it's not even space related. So she was up the other night there, and I was showing her my main arcade cab, and she just thought she was in 7th heaven playing Asteroids. It's the first time she's played Asteroids since about 1980, so she thought this was absolutely incredible. But yeah, I've just been so busy. I've not had a chance to really be playing any games. I mean, I have actually been putting a fair bit of work this week in the evenings, making videos, because I was kind of getting slightly low in videos. And what I mean, I used to, a few years ago, I would make a video and I would put it out, but now that just doesn't work like that. I couldn't really operate like that. So what I tend to do, like most people who make YouTube channels or make content, we like to kind of stockpile videos. So I've probably got about, I think I've got about 7 or 8 videos pre-recorded, which is good because it means I can then, you know, if I don't get any chance to make videos, I've got videos there to kind of put out, you know, release. So yeah, like I said, I've really not been doing, I've not been playing any games at all other than the games. Excuse me a second. Yeah, I've got 2 dogs. One of them's he must be about, what age? He's about 6. Yeah, he's about 6 years old. And another one is about 9 or 10. And the older dog, I don't know what's wrong with him. At night time, I mean, they stay downstairs in the living room. For the last couple of nights, he's been getting. We've got a stair gate, you know, one of these baby gate things to basically stop him coming upstairs. Because if he goes up the stairs, he'll scratch in the bedroom door. So I've got the stair gate to basically stop him getting up. And just in the last couple of nights, he'll settle down, and then about an hour later, he'll be at the stair gate and he's trying to open the gate to get upstairs. And he gets himself in a right panic. I don't know what's wrong with him, but he's been driving us absolutely daft. So if anybody's wanting a 10-year-old West Highland Terrier, give me a shout. No, I mean, I love him to bits, but I think it's just because his age. You know, I've been googling it, and they say that like anybody, dogs start to get a wee bit panicky about, you know, they get a bit insecure and that kind of stuff. So I don't know, but it's certainly tough on us because you're in your bed sleeping and you hear him at this gate and you come down, you shout at him, and anyway, back to video games. So yeah, I've not been playing anything I can think of. The only system I have actually been playing a fair bit, excuse me, is the PS Vita. Since my mate Neil took me through step by step how to basically put custom firmware on it, I've been using it a lot more. I've been playing Shovel Knight. Now I don't know if anyone knows what Shovel Knight is. It was originally a Kickstarter game, and I think I mentioned this in last week's Waffle. You know what? I'm getting to the stage now, I start repeating myself, and I sometimes forget that I've already told you things. That is a sure sign of getting old. But yeah, this Shovel Knight, it was a Kickstarter, and it's basically, it looks like a sort of an NES game. That's the best way to describe it. But it's super playable. It really ticks all the boxes. Like I said, I'm not a fan of these brand new old style 8-bit looking games. I don't like these. You know, if I want to play them, I'll go and play the originals. I don't need somebody to write a new one. But I've got to say, this Shovel Knight is excellent. I've been playing that a fair bit. But that's been it really from a gaming point of view. Like I said, I've been putting quite a bit of time in this week into making some videos. If you've watched any of my live streams, you'll know that I tend to get interrupted from time to time. You know, either let a dog out for a piss, or my daughter wants to come downstairs, or was it last Saturday I had to go and get a spider out the bathroom. And one of the guys that watches the channel, he actually he put a short video up. I don't know if he made it, and it's, what was it called? It's something like Meme Meister when real life kicks in, or real life situations, something like that. And basically what he's done is he's trawled through the 3 hours of video, and he's basically edited, he's spliced together all the bits where I get interrupted. It's actually quite funny. When I first saw it, I was a wee bit like, oh, wait a minute, this guy's using my content, and he's not even asked me for, you know, permission. But you know what, it's quite funny. I just think it's pretty good actually. So yeah, so like I said, I've not been doing, I can't think of any gaming related stuff I've been doing at all, other than making videos and playing the PS Vita. So I'm just going to batter straight in with the questions, guys. By the way, before I start, I've got a Brother laser printer. Now, you can't really see it properly here. I noticed in the last few times I've been printing, I don't know if you can see that, you're getting a kind of dark line going all the way down. Now that's actually a wee bit better, and it's almost like, see, it's all kind of sticking. I don't know what's causing that. It's like the toner is kind of sticking. I've actually taken out, there's 4 cartridges, there's the blue, yellow, red and black, and I've taken them out and I've given the kind of, there's a sort of drum thing, it's a kind of shiny drum, I've given that a clean, and there's also a little kind of wire thing that you move up and down a few times. You're supposed to do that like 12 times to clean it. It is a lot better than it was, but if anybody knows how to get rid of that, you can see it there. You know, it's going all the way down. Well, hopefully you can see it, and you can actually feel it's quite rough. You know, I don't know what's going on there, but if anybody knows how to fix that, please let me know. So anyway, just to kick things right off, Wee Bob is asking, in modern gaming, are there any upcoming games that you have your eyes on? I'm looking forward to Days Gone, having seen a few trailers. It looks like a cross between The Walking Dead and World War Z. Big open world game right up my street. Is that the one that I've seen the trailer where basically the guy is just running and there are thousands and thousands of zombies chasing him, and he's like going underneath cars and he's knocking down things to kill them? I think it sounds very much like what that is, and it does look super impressive. I wasn't actually sure what the game was. I didn't know if it had already been released, but it does look pretty damn good. I don't know if it's coming out for the PS4, in fact I think you did say, Bob, that it is coming out for the PS4 later on. It does look pretty good. As far as new games that I'm looking forward to, again, if you're a kind of regular on the channel, you'll know that, you know, my passion mainly lies with older systems. I do play modern games, but I never really watch videos, or I don't keep up to date with modern games. You know, I don't keep up to date with them at all. Usually I'll get to know about a game because, you know, my mate Dean Thompson or one of these guys, fellow YouTubers, they'll put out a video showing it getting played, and I'll be like, oh, that looks quite good, and I'll watch it and I'll think, I like the look of that. But I generally don't follow, you know, what's coming out. I could not tell you what new games there are coming out at all. So for that reason, I'm not looking forward to any game because I don't kind of follow the scene. The only game I am looking forward to, and I don't know when it's coming out, I mean I know it's in production, is the follow-up to Last of Us, which was definitely one of my favourite like current gen games. I've played it and completed it on the PlayStation 3, and I bought it and played it and completed it on the PlayStation 4. It's an amazing game. If you've never played Last of Us, go and check it out. It's phenomenal. It's one of these games that it draws you in, it tells a story. You know, there's really good relationships between all the characters, and you become attached to them, and you know, it's a genuinely, it does move you, the game, you know, the characters in the game itself. But looking forward to that. But apart from that one, Bob, I can't say there's any other game that I'm looking forward to, purely and simply because I don't follow what games are coming out. I'll catch a video on YouTube and I'll go, that looks really good, and then I'll maybe buy it if I think it looks like my kind of thing. So anyway, listen Bob, thanks for the question, buddy. Next up is Panther UK. Chris, you have a lot of stuff packed into your games room, and we have all heard about the Aladdin's cave that is your loft. Have you got any separate insurance against any mishaps, which hopefully will never happen, to protect what is really a massive investment? I'm ashamed to say, Chris, I don't have it. I don't have any extra insurance at all, and I know that's stupid. Because the thing is, I could, if God forbid, if something happened and there was a fire and I lost everything, I would struggle to actually write down everything that I've got, because I do quite simply have that much stuff, and I really need to do it. I mean, I've been promising for a couple of years what I was going to do is I was going to take a photograph of something. Why is there a lot of Echo. I was going to take a photograph of everything, I was going to name it, and I was going to put a rough price so that if anything happened I would know what it is. The thing is about, like, you know, classic consoles, they're going up and up and up in price. I mean, I've got a few, like the Jaguar, Atari Jaguar, I got that for about, I think I bought that for about 40 quid a couple of years ago, and it goes for quite daft money now. You know, you can't really get one for under £100. The Vectrex goes for daft money as well, so it is constantly appreciating in value. And you know, for somebody who doesn't know the scene, like an insurance person, if you said, oh, a Spectrum, they would say, what's that? Oh, that 30-year-old computer, that's worth £10. And that is not true. You know, it's now an antique, so these things are going up in price. But there's an app that I have got on my phone, and I can't for the life of me think what it is because it's on that thing that I'm recording, and it basically allows you to do exactly what I was talking about. It allows you to sort of like categorise all your collection. You can take photographs of everything, different computers, different games, everything. And yeah, you take a photograph, you obviously put a description, and you can put a value so that if anything happened, at least you would be able to, you know, get it. The thing is, I know for a fact that, you know, I don't know, probably maybe 70% of my collection I could replace. There's a 30% of that of my collection I could simply not replace. You know, it's just not possible. But I really should get it. What would you suggest is the best way, Chris? Should I put a rough value, take photographs of everything, put a rough value, tot it all together, say it comes to, I don't know, £10,000, it may not be as much as that, probably not as much as that, and then take out a separate insurance policy for like £12,000, is that the best way to go about it? But it is something I really need to do because I always do. I mean, you know, I know it sounds daft because it is only computer games, but if something happened in this house and we lost everything, most of the stuff that we've got, like fridge, cooker, microwave, you know, these can all be replaced. You can go to, we don't have any emotional connection to the microwave or the cooker or the fridge, come to think of it. You know, we could just go out and buy, we could go to Argos or whatever it is and buy new ones, but you can't do that. You can't do that when it comes to a collection, certainly a collection that's like classic systems that are no longer made. So yeah, I think that question you've asked me, Chris, is probably the kick up the backside that I need to actually go and do it. But thanks, as always, Chris. Always appreciate it, mate. Next up, Mr. Batman. I've noticed lots of PSP love recently, but what is your favourite handheld system aside from the PSP? For purposes of this subject, you can't include emulation systems. Not that I'm trying to be bossy or anything. Right, I've got you back. So in other words, I can't include, you know, the GPDXD because that is purely a sort of an emulation thing. Well, I did show off my handheld collection a few weeks ago. I mean, if it was based on what I'm using the most at the moment, then it would be the PS Vita. But if you'd asked me that a month ago, the PS Vita would be the one that I was probably going to sell because I never use it. But I've now got a lot of games for it, and I'm using it all the time. I can run PlayStation 1 games, I can run PSP games, I can run obviously PS Vita games as well. So from a point of view of what one am I using the most at the moment, for form factor and, you know, a nice big screen, it's got a beautiful big screen, it would be the PS Vita. But if I was only able to keep one system, and you know, because it's my favourite, I would probably have to go for the Pandora console, which again I showed you a few weeks ago. I mean, the Pandora, it was like a crowd-funded project, but this was before, you know, crowdfunding was a thing. But basically people put money in to get this thing off the ground, and it was basically a bunch of enthusiasts that built the Pandora. I mean, it's not, the quality build isn't very good. You know, it's not been made by Nintendo, it's not been made by Sony, it's actually been handmade by a group of people. So, you know, it does look slightly homemade, if that makes any sense. But when you consider what it's actually doing, I mean, it must be, I don't know how old the Pandora is. I mean, if I'm right in thinking, the one I've got, I think it's 800 megahertz, that's the speed. So it's not even a gig's speed, I think that's the, the one I've got, it's 600 megahertz, and you can increase it up to 800. I think there was a Pandora that came out at 1 gig, or was it 800? I can't remember, but my one, you can, the maximum speed you can go to is 800 megahertz, which is, I don't know, it's probably about a 12-year-old PC power. It's ridiculously underpowered. But because it was built specifically, you know, as an emulation thing, now I know you've said emulation doesn't count, although it's quite a under-spec'd machine, it can play things brilliantly, you know. So yeah, that would be my favourite console. But I says, you know, you've said I'm not allowed to include, I should have read that properly, I'm not allowed to include emulation ones. From the point of view, I mean, what have I got? I love my Game Boy Advance, not the SP one, Game Boy Advance, the original Game Boy SP, you know, the sort of big screen, the purple one that I've got. You see it at the start of every video, you'll see me playing at the start. That's probably my favourite sort of form factor. It's light, it sits in your hand really well, it controls brilliantly, and having the screen, that backlit screen, really makes it. I mean, when it first came out, when it came out, it's non-backlit, and it was virtually impossible to play any games. I mean, I bought one when it came out, and I didn't keep it for very long, just because, you know, you needed a bright light behind it to actually play the thing. But since my mate put the back screen on it, or the backlight on it, it really opened up the machine. It's a wonderful machine. So I'll probably say I'll go for the Game Boy Advance with the backlight as my favourite one. So yeah, great question, but thanks for that, mate. Right, next up, down the rabbit hole, Kevin. I may have asked you this before, but do you enjoy Doctor Who, and are you more into the old Doctor Who or the newer stuff? I don't think you have, Kevin, and it's a big fat no. Now, considering I am a geeky gamer, other than Star Wars, I have got no interest at all in science fiction. Don't get me wrong, I've watched, like, you know, E.T., you know, what do you call it? I've watched the Star Trek films, Close Encounters of the Third Kind, stuff like that. I'll go to the cinema and watch these aliens, stuff like that. But I've never, ever been into kind of like TV series. I've never seen a single episode of what do you call it? The X-Files. The only Star Trek that I ever watched was the original series with William Shatner and Leonard Nimoy. So I'm not a fan of these programmes at all, and Doctor Who's the same. The only Doctor Who that I ever watched at all as a kid was John Pertwee. When I was a young kid, I used to watch it, but since then I've got no interest in Doctor Who. I mean, my wife, when Doctor Who was on the TV recently, my wife would watch it, and I would just sit there and whatever, and I'd go upstairs and play a video game or something. I've got no interest in Doctor Who at all. I know it's massively popular, but it's just not my thing at all, mate. Number 2, are you interested in the film Ready Player One with its nostalgia? Thanks for mentioning that, and via references. Apparently that book was immediately beloved by all of us who grew up in the 80s, but lately fans have changed their minds and don't have the same appreciation for the book they once did. I'm curious if you've ever had a similar experience of really loving something but revisiting it years later and wishing you hadn't said had such high praise for it. I completely forgot all about Ready Player One. I went to see that on Saturday night. Now, I did the live stream and I had to bail out about 10 o'clock because my daughter and I were going to see Ready Player One. It started at 10:30, and get this, there were 3 people in the cinema. Now, it's quite funny, this is without a word of a lie. My daughter and I were in the cinema, we're in the VIP seats, sitting right at the very back, and the trailers went through, all the adverts, the trailers, and just before the film started, in came this wee guy, and where did he sit? Yep, right in front of me. He had the whole of the cinema, and he sat right in front of me. The only thing was, the way our cinema is kind of like stepped. Even though he was in front of me, I'm not a tall person at all. He was sitting in front of me. I mean, I could see straight over his head, so it wasn't a problem, but I thought it was quite funny. I did enjoy the film, and I have actually read the book. Now, I don't read books. It's a regret that I have. I've never been one for reading books. I don't know, I think I've just got a really, really short span of attention, because when I think about it, I don't watch many films because I kind of get bored too quickly. I don't watch TV programmes. I don't play any adventure games. I've never played Final Fantasy or any of these games. And yeah, I think I've got a really, really short span of attention. But I did, the book Ready Player One was recommended to me by a mate. I think it's maybe 2 years ago, and he said, "Oh, you'll love this," and I read it and I really enjoyed it. So you're saying that people who have read the book are now saying the book's shit? Don't understand that. You know, it's old cliche, yeah, the film wasn't as good as the book. I mean, there was quite a bit cut out of the book, but I still enjoyed it. As a standalone film, I thought it was really good. I'm one of these people, I kind of laugh when I hear people saying, "Oh, this and that, and Star Wars this, and da 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 da." And I'm like, you know what, guys? It's a film. It's for entertainment. That's all it is. It's not real life. It's for entertainment. If it can keep you entertained for an hour and a half, job's a good one. But some people get so hung up with films. I think they just lose. They need to do a bit of reality check. You know, seriously. But I enjoyed the film. I enjoyed the book as well. If you've not seen it, then I would say go and see it. It is good. So, you know, the context of what you're saying there about any film that you've watched or something that you've loved and then you've revisited it later on and it's not as good. Well, I mean, that, I've got to say, and I hate to say this, but that applies to quite a few video games. You know, not so much 16-bit, but 8-bit games, especially like the Commodore 64. Because I never played Spectrum games back in the day, I didn't play Amstrad games, I didn't have a BBC. Excuse me. When I play these games now, I'm playing them for the first time. So, you know, I'll be like, yeah, that's rubbish. But because I've had a C64 back in the day, there was a lot of games that I played, and playing them now, a lot of them, I'd probably say the majority of games on the C64 that I've played since, I'm not going to say they don't stand up nowadays, because they were what they were. You know, it was 1982, 1983. It was at the very, very start of the industry. You're not going to get Gears of War on a Commodore 64. So, you know, you need to bear that in mind. It'd be like a bit like going into a museum and nicking a bike, a penny farthing, and saying this bike is shit. You know, it's bumpy, you can feel everybody stone up the crack of your backside. You know, you can't compare a penny farthing with a brand new Chris Boardman, you know, hybrid. You know, it's, things have moved on, and it's the same with computer games. It's unfair to compare it, but it doesn't mean that you can't play a game now and say, well, I don't enjoy that. And you know, games like, and I don't know why I keep singling this one game out, but Bruce Lee. I mean, Bruce Lee is a classic game. It's a game that I've got a lot of time for. I mean, I loved it to bits. It was an awesome game to play back in the day, but when I play it now, it just feels a bit empty. It just, I don't know, I don't really enjoy playing the game now. But then there's other games like Super Pipeline 2, I'll never get bored of playing that game. It was a great game back then, and it's still a good game. I still enjoy it. So yeah, there have been quite a few games. There was one, kind of getting back on track with the film. There's a film that I watched 3 weeks ago, and it was First Blood, like the first Rambo film. And I always remember, I mean, I was a big fan of like Sylvester Stallone. I absolutely adore the Rocky films. I don't know how many times. In fact, I watched Rocky 4, I think it was, fairly recently. Love the Rocky films. I like Sylvester Stallone. I love all the kind of action films. Apart from, was it Mama Don't Shoot? Whatever it is, that was pish. But yeah, First Blood, I watched it, and it felt like it was dated. It's a bit like watching, I don't know, it's like watching the Dukes of Hazzard. I'm a massive fan of the Dukes of Hazzard. You know, back in the 80s, me and my dad used to sit and watch it. And you watch reruns of it now, and it's quite cringeworthy. And it's the same with First Blood. The acting was over the top. It just, I'm like, that hasn't aged that well, So yeah, there's that. I mean, I think some films don't age as well. But then you've got, my wife, she loves watching like things like Gone with the Wind and all these classic like Rodgers and Hammerstein musicals, Oklahoma, Sound of Music, all these, yeah, they're cheesy, but you know what, they still stand up today. They just don't make films like that they did back then. But yeah, I think some films, but I think more some computer games, especially Commodore 64 games. These are the games that I played back in the day, and I play them now, and I'm like, thankfully, I wouldn't want just to have that to play. I'd probably stick with more modern systems. But yeah, another good question, Kev. Thirdly, I heard some young podcasters arguing that gamers of our generation, in other words, old people, will lose our reaction time as we age and will need to play less challenging games when we retire. What do you think? Well, I would suggest that they try and play Track and Field, or they try and play 1942, or Commando, or Manic Miner, or Dodon Pachi, any of these games, I'll challenge them. But yeah, I mean, you know what? They're right. They are right. You can't hide old age. Old age does catch up. I mean, I'm conscious now that my short-term memory, I mean, I've got a good memory. I need a good memory for my work. I couldn't do my job unless I had a good memory. But people's names, I am terrible, absolutely awful with people's names. I mean, when I was collecting my new company car the other day, the guy that was giving me, one of the managers, I'd never met before, he introduced himself, and I was talking away to him, and I said Mike, and he went, "It's Mark." I went, "Oh, sorry, Mark." Okay. Anyway, yeah, so, alright, see you later, Mike. He went, "Mark." "Oh, sorry, Mike, yeah." And then I saw him the next day, and I called him Mark, and he's like, "It's Mike." And I went, "Shit, so it is, sorry." So I'm terrible with names. That's probably the most common thing that old people forget. But yeah, it's a given. Your reaction times are going to slow down. But saying that, games that I play that I really enjoy, like I say, 1942 and all the kind of arcade games, I'm probably better at them now than I was back then, and I think it's because I play them more often. You know what I mean? I've got a MAME cab upstairs. Like Berserk, my best score is about 20,000. Now, I've had, that's a good score. 20,000 doesn't sound like a lot, but I ask you, in fact, if any of the young kids, podcasters that are watching this, try Berserk and MAME and let me know what score you can get. I know that they'll be watching this, because my average audience is about 40-year-old male from Scotland. But yeah, absolutely, I don't for 1 second doubt that when you get older, you're going to want to play less fast action paced games, which doesn't make any sense because these are the games that I still prefer to play. I don't really like playing modern games. I prefer fast paced games. So anyway, but yeah, if you're watching this, go and try Berserk, and you get to 20,000, then come back. Number 4, that same podcast group joked that when the oldest generation of gamers do retire, the VR will be everywhere, and we'll just choose to play the games of our youth. So I wanted to ask you, what setting or time would you select in your pensioner's home VR headset? For me, it would be the arcades of the early 80s. Yeah, I would be absolutely with you 100%, Kevin. It would be the early 80s. Yeah, no question. Finally, have you ever tried one game in a series and loved it so much you went back and played all the others? I'm trying to think. Don't think so. I don't recall. No, I don't think I have. I mean, there's certain games that I've played. I mean, like, it's a game I've never mentioned. Pikmin. Pikmin well, it was originally for the GameCube. Then it came out for the Nintendo Wii. Then it came out for the Nintendo Wii U. It's an amazing game. Pikmin is a beautiful game. I go on about how much I hate Rain Wildlands because it's just too cute and I don't enjoy it. Pikmin is cute overload, but it's in 3D. You know, you control a little space mini. You've got all these little, it's like lemmings almost, but you control where they go. And I love Pikmin to bits. So when I played the first one, when the second one came out, I bought it, and the third one came out, I bought it. And if it comes out for the Switch, which apparently it is, which is great, I'll definitely buy it. But I can't think of any game series that I've, like, now I've played one of them and goes, oh, that was great, I'm going to go back and play the next one. One thing, and I can't remember who I was talking to. I think it was Neil Morris. He was talking about Final Fantasy games. Now I've got to say, I've never played any Final Fantasy game ever, at all. I've seen my mate, he used to play it on the PlayStation. Now obviously there are so many Final Fantasy games. Bear in mind that I have got the attention span of a gnat or a goldfish. And you know, I don't like playing long games with lots of cutscenes. That's why I couldn't stand Metal Gear Solid. Can't stand watching cutscenes. Could anybody recommend a Final Fantasy game that I have to play? I've got to play and I'll enjoy it. Bear in mind, like I says, I've got a really short span of attention. Is there a Final Fantasy game, you know, that you recommend, you think I would enjoy, that I can save there and then? I don't want to have to get to an end of a mission and then save it. That I can save, you know, play for an hour, save. If there's a game, let me know what platform it's on, whether it's on a handheld or whether it's on PlayStation 3 or PlayStation whatever, Sega Saturn, I don't know. Let me know if you think there's a Final Fantasy game. Personally, I don't think there will be one that I would play, just because of the amount of hours that you've got to put into it, and the fact that I've got a low span of attention. So no, to answer your question, Kevin, I can't think of any game that I've played and then I goes, oh, I'm going to go back and play the first one or the second one, whatever. I can't think, but I have played a game and I liked it so much that I'll make sure I play the next one when it comes out. So anyway, Kev, listen, thanks very much, Squire, for all your questions. Next one is a Lo-Fi Lurch. Question for the Waffle: what are some good games for the BBC Model B computer? Now I've got a BBC and it's probably one of my least used systems. I think the way I've got it set up, I can't really access the keyboard properly, and for that reason I've not really used it that much. But from memory, and because I've never owned a BBC until I've got this one obviously, I never really got to play many games. But games from what I've heard are worth playing. Is it Exile? I think that's a kind of, you're in a sort of, it's almost like a jetpack type game. Jetpack's actually pretty good in the BBC. Obviously Elite was original. It originally came out in the BBC, and I keep meaning to play that game on the BBC now that I've got one. Elite, what else? I loved Frack, which my mate Ian Boffin, he did the graphics for it. What else? There's other good games. Is it Repton? Which always looks like Boulder Dash zoomed in, but I think it's slightly more than Boulder Dash. But I know Repton's meant to be good. Zalaga, which is a really good clone of Galaga, funnily enough, but you didn't know that one. But yeah, like I said, I'm not really the man to ask about the BBC, because although I own one, I've not really played it that much, and I need to change that. But anyway, listen, thanks for your question, buddy. A few more to go. Mr. Ian Hunter, I'd like to know your favourite movie tie-in game for the Commodore 64 and Sinclair Spectrum. Cheers, buddy. I was looking at that question earlier, Ian, and I've never ever been a fan of movie tie-ins. I mean, Ocean Software were massive. They made shitloads of money with movie tie-ins. You had the Untouchables, which was meant to be a great game. Robocop is the big standout game. Batman. I did enjoy Batman on the Amiga, where you start off in a kind of a warehouse type place, factory. But the standout moment for me with that game was when you're actually driving the, what do you call it, the Batmobile. I remember my jaw literally hit the floor. That one section is just incredible looking, and I remember playing it thinking, why could you not bring out Chase HQ? Because this absolutely proves that the Amiga is capable of an arcade racing game. It's brilliant. You're driving along Gotham City, you know, everything's flying past 100 miles an hour. I'll see if I can put a wee link to the bit I'm talking about up one of the corners. And to go around the corner, you've got to basically fire your grapple hook. I was trying to think of what it's called here. You've got to fire your grapple hook to turn, but it's super impressive. So I like that game. But I think the only game on the Commodore 64 that was a tie-in that I can think of would be Ghostbusters. Ghostbusters is a game now, yeah, when you look at it, you realise just how simplistic it is. You know, it is a really, really simplistic game. But when you put them all together and then you turn the clock back to like 1984, it was an amazing game, and it was a game I played a lot. You know, as a package, it felt good. It felt proper. It felt like you were taking part in Ghostbusters. It was a wicked, wicked game. So yeah, I'd go for Ghostbusters. As far as in the Spectrum, well, again, I didn't have a Spectrum back in the day. Is there a game now that I've played that was a movie tie-in? Can't really say that it is, Ian. Like I said, I was never a fan of the 8-bit movie tie-ins. I wasn't really a fan of the Ocean tie-in games. I know Batman was, but I can't really think of any other one. I don't know what it was. I don't know, because of wee mini games, I just kind of, I don't know. I could try and explain why I don't like certain games. It'd be like trying to explain to somebody why they don't like whiskey and somebody else does like whiskey. You know, we've all got our tastes, and it's the same with me. I was never a fan of movie tie-ins. But as always, Ian, thanks for your question, Squire. But 2 to go, guys. Mr. Bop MC. Hi mate, I recently took the plunge and bought the C64 Mini and have been having a lot of fun with it. As a C64 man, have you got one, or do you plan on getting one? Your thoughts? I don't have one, Bop, at the moment. I've not seen very much about it, other than, you know, in fact, I've deliberately avoided it. I've not watched any videos of it in action. My initial impression, which may be wrong, was it just, yeah, it just looks like, well, to cut it to the bone, it looks like no different from a Raspberry Pi inside a Commodore 64 case. I think the fact that the keyboard doesn't work, I thought to myself, it's not a Commodore 64. It's just it's an emulation station, emulation machine running Commodore 64 games, and it's been put into a Commodore 64 mini shell. I think because I've got the, it sounds arrogant, I've got the ultimate Commodore 64 add-on, which is the Ultimate 2 cartridge. If you've not got one and you've got a Commodore 64, I suggest you get your name down for one. It's an amazing cartridge. It plays everything. It emulates a disk drive, it emulates a tape drive, it emulates a SID chip, it emulates cartridges. It's a wonderful thing. So because I've got that, I've got no need for any of these things. But I am a C64 man, and I do like buying stuff, so I probably will end up getting one at some point. I don't know, how much do they go for? How much are they at the moment? I think they're on Amazon. Am I right in thinking that they're maybe bringing out a full size one or something? Like I said, I probably will get one. I've not been looking at them because I'm thinking, well, it's got a restricted number of games, and yeah, I can play Commodore 64 games on a multitude of handhelds. I've got the real C64 with the best add-on you can get for a real C64, so I've not really had any real inclination to go and buy one, but I think I will end up getting one at some point. Though I've managed to avoid the Sinclair Vega, not the second one, which has never come out, but the first one. I think if it came out for £10, I would maybe buy it. But again, I don't really see the point of it because I've just got so many other ways to play Spectrum games. Still waiting on the Spectrum Next. Slightly disappointed that it's not been released as yet. I think they were talking about it was maybe April, but it's been kind of dragging on. But I don't even follow the progress of the Spectrum Next. The only reason I know it's not coming out at the moment is because they send emails. There's a few people getting a wee bit uppity, thinking, oh, it's going to go the same way that the Spectrum Vega 2, but I don't think it will. I honestly believe that the Spectrum Next will be with us. I mean, the people who wanted it without a keyboard and case, they've already got theirs, so I don't have any issues at all, or any concern that it's not going to come out. So I've got that as well, so I don't need a Vega. But yeah, to go back to what you were saying, I don't have one, but I probably will get one at some point. Yeah, and so that was the third last one. Now this one is a mouthful and a half. Mr. Vin's Clortho Keymaster of Goza. I'm assuming that's not your real name. Hi Name Master. Your waffles are extra crispy. For next week, if you could bring back one system in new game development for sale in today's market, what would it be? Good question, actually. Bring back one system. Well, the Commodore, Amiga, the Spectrum, and the C64, they've never really gone away. I think even the Vectrex, excuse me, even the Vectrex, I mean, I literally, today, I opened up, I've got a brand new game for the Vectrex. So, the Vectrex is one of the oldest systems, and there's still games coming out for it, so I will do a look at some point. I think the one system I'd like to see new games coming out for, because it's such a competent machine, and sadly it had a very, very premature death, and that would be the Dreamcast. The Dreamcast was an awesome machine, super powerful. The games that came out for it were excellent. I just think, yeah, there have been more modern games coming out for it, but I don't think there's been any for a long, long time. But I would love to see developers developing for the Sega Dreamcast? So yeah, great question, and thank you very much. And to finish things off, I've got Mr. Neil Morris. Number 1, since those classic gaming days, what gaming experience, so in recent times, if any, has made you felt like you were back then? For me, it was stepping into VR. The Oculus setup app called First Contact was just brilliant, but new Retro Arcade Neon just blew me away. Yeah, thanks for that, Neil. Yeah, the new Retro Arcade is basically you're in an arcade in the 80s, and Neil was talking about that, and I watched a video of it, and it looks like something that I would be all over, and that then piqued my interest. I wanted to have a look to see the feasibility of getting a VR, and I was quickly put in my place by people saying, look, forget it, your graphics card is simply not up to the task. If you want to jump onto VR, you need to get this, you need to get that, and I think it was going to be costing me about £600-700, and that's not even counting the Oculus Rift itself. So yeah, that was the one thing I wanted to do. In recent times, what sorry, has any made you feel like you did back then? I can't. What gaming experience in recent times has made you feel like you were back then? I suppose, yeah, I mean, I was talking about it earlier on, the Shovel Knight. I know it's just a game, a wee handheld game, but it's so good. It feels like it really does feel like an authentic game from the 80s that somebody has dug up or found, whatever. It is so good. It is really, really nice. But I can't think of any other. I mean, I'm not lucky enough to have, you know, the Oculus Rift, so I can't comment on that retro arcade thing. But yeah, no, I think probably Shovel Knight, Neil. That's probably because I mean I can. Yeah, there's not been any modern old game that's made me think, wow, this is taking me back in time. Not at all. I mean, on my PSVR, I can't see there's any oldie style games. It's all modern games. So no, I would have to go for Shovel Knight. It's such a good game. Number 2, Invasion. Our gaming history is being rewritten. PAL region kids talk about the NES like it was a thing. My recollection was of Nintendo games on Atari VCS, and Super Mario Brothers was something you played in boots when dropping off your photos to be developed. How important do you think it is to protect the real legacy of the Spectrum, BBC, C64, Atari 2600, Amstrad, Master System? The list is long. Yeah, you know what? I mean, even now, video games, considering how massive the industry is. I mean, you hear it all the time, and I'm not going to disbelieve it, that the gaming industry generates more money than Hollywood. You know, more money than the music industry. I don't know if it's more than the music industry. I would doubt that. But they say it generates more money than the movie industry. The gaming industry is absolutely phenomenal. It is huge. Yeah, even now, it's still looked upon as a niche kind of hobby. Not so much to the same extent as when I was a kid, but to the point that there are no TV programmes about video games. You know, why is that? It's always just been, you know, it's never happened. Now, what was I watching? I was watching a YouTube video, and somebody was asked that. I can't remember what it was or who I was watching, and what they reckoned the reason was because why would the BBC want to encourage people to play video games? Because if they do that, or Sky TV, if Sky brought out, you know, a massive popular video games TV programme, that's effectively encouraging people to go and switch off the TV and go and play video games. Now, they don't want that. They don't want you to not watch Sky Sports or not watch the movie channel. They want you to go and take out a subscription to Sky. But if you get more into video games, then you're like me. You know, you're more likely to want to play a video game than TV. So that's possibly the reason. Excuse me, where was I going with this? Yeah, it's. But what I was trying to come back to here. The gaming industry is something that it started late 70s, and it's massive, and it's like any part of society. It is important that people are aware of how these systems came to be. You know, VR wasn't always there. You know, every game didn't look like Gears of War. You know, you compare a driving game. I don't know, even like say Pole Position, that was an arcade game. You look at Pole Position, that came out 1983. Compare Pole Position to like Drive Club. It's just incredible how quickly things have evolved. It's just unbelievable. But yeah, when there's it is important that these systems are not forgotten, and that's what I would like to hope. That when I've kicked the bucket and I've gone to the great arcade in the sky, that someone somewhere will find my channel and go, a minute, this old guy, he's talking about all these systems and videos, and I'd like to think that myself and all my fellow YouTubers, all you guys that watch the channel and talk about it, we're all historians, and actually I kind of tend to think of myself more as a gaming historian rather than a collector or even a video gamer. I just like to talk about video games. That's what I do. I do enjoy playing them, I enjoy buying them, but I love talking about them. And that's why I probably spend more time talking about video games than I actually do playing them. So I would like to think I am a historian. I'd like to think that what I've put onto YouTube is relevant. I mean, I do get some really nice comments about my channel, and I always appreciate it. And the sort of the compliments I get is the fact that I'm an older person, and I've got the memories, and I can recollect and talk about all the classic days, back in the 80s. So people enjoy listening to me talking about that. I think that's, if I had a unique selling point, it's not because I make, wonderfully graphically intensive looking videos. I think for me it's about the content, it's about me talking about stuff. And like I said, that's where I look upon myself and all my other YouTube buddies as gaming historians. I'd like to think that somewhere down the line, all this stuff on YouTube is going to be archived somewhere, so that in 100 years' time, somebody could be watching this Friday Waffle, and listening to me talking about these games. But yeah, absolutely, it is incredibly important that kids understand where their PlayStation 6 came from. If it wasn't for the fact that that people bought an Atari 2600, we just simply wouldn't have this. Or if Sir Clive Sinclair hadn't brought out the ZX Spectrum, I don't think we would have the same industry that we've got now. So yeah, and very last question from Neil: if Father Christmas could bring you one authentic original arcade cab this year, what would it be? I've kind of been changing my mind about this one, but it would be Berserk. An original Berserk cab, definitely. A close second would be Robotron. It would definitely be Berserk. So, listen, Neil, thanks for the questions, and thank you to everybody that's taken time to ask, give me stuff to talk about tonight. Before I forget, I was really quite, I wasn't crying, but I was quite upset to hear about the passing of Eric Bristow, the darts player. Now, I was reared in darts when I was a kid. I loved watching darts, and some of my happiest memories was watching like Jockey Wilson from Scotland playing Eric Bristol. Eric Bristol was a crafty cockney. He was quintessentially English, and obviously Jockey Wilson was Scottish, you know, the fat Scotsman, you know, typical. But these guys were so entertaining, and I remember as a kid, I mean, I played darts. These guys inspired me to play darts, and I did get quite good at darts. This is before I got into video games, and I did get quite good. And I always remember when Eric Bristol, you know, won was it 5 world championships. I always remember the BBC would put together a montage of you know, Eric playing, and the track that they used to pick was it was Carly Simon. Nobody Does It Better. It was I think it was that the theme tune to The Spy Who Loved Me. I think it was. Yeah, it was. That was the track to The Spy Who Loved Me. And I always remember thinking, I would love to be that good at something, to be so good at a sport. I would love to see my face on BBC and people look at me and go, he's the best, nobody can touch him. And Eric Bristol was that guy. He was so good at darts. Yeah, as he got older he kind of lost it, you know, but he was an amazing darts player. And you know, if it wasn't for guys like him, yeah, he was outspoken, but if it wasn't for guys like him, I don't think the darts would be what it is. I mean, Eric Bristol discovered Phil Taylor, and he sponsored him. He paid for Phil Taylor to go around the world playing tournaments. We all know about Phil Taylor. He is the greatest darts player to ever live. So yeah, I was genuinely gutted when I heard that he died last night, only 60 years old. I am, in fact it was Neil suggested, I am going to put together a special on darts games. I'm going to put a wee special, just as a wee dedication to Eric Bristol and Jim Bowen, who passed away a few weeks beforehand. So anyway guys, that is it. My channel has still not been monetised, so I'm still not rolling in money quite yet. I don't know why it's taking so long. All they're saying is they've got a backlog and they reckon it could take up to the end of April. I mean, I applied for it on the 17th of February, so this will be coming up to almost 2 months since I first applied for it. So like I says, I've not made a single penny yet. Don't know when that's going to happen, but anyway, right, listen guys, to all the subscribers, thank you very much for taking time to watch my channel. Anybody that's new to the channel who's just subscribed, thank you very much. If you're watching this channel for the first time, you haven't subscribed, and you want to see more of me talking pish, please hit that big fat subscribe button. Thanks to all the continued support that you guys give me. I have an absolute blast doing this, and hopefully I can repay you with some entertaining videos. And finally guys, thank you very much for watching.